This comment is a reinterpretation of history. It's actually a rewriting of history, and it's exactly what is brainwashed into most of our culture, and this is what the atheists today believe. They actually think that this is true. Let's read this. The standard we use today is the reason and logic born of the Age of Enlightenment. It is the same system of beliefs that gave rise to modern Western science, and is the pillar of modern secular law, the Constitution, for example. There is nothing inherently wrong with personal religion and faith. Well, I agree with that part. The problem only arises when religion intrudes on the public arena and threatens secularism. Separation of church and state. I am sick and tired of hearing that because they don't even know where that comes from. It is not found in the Constitution. It was actually in a letter by Thomas Jefferson defending religious freedom.
I really need to address this, Sean. Your assertion that the separation of church and state is not found in the Constitution is... well, let me show you the reaction the audience had when Senate candidate Christine O'Donnell said the same thing.
Okay, so one of those indispensable principles is the separation of church and state.
Okay, with that, very good dialogue. We appreciate that. Let's still move on so we can get to all the panelists and cover a number of areas. Chad Lyman, good from the newsroom, please, if you could ask that question, please.
Where in the Constitution is separation of church and state?
Let's ask the respect for the panelists and the questions that were on the question left there.
You see, Sean, it's kind of laughable. The separation of church and state is found in the First Amendment Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The letter you speak of from Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Church is his explanation to them of this amendment, an explanation which, by the way, the Supreme Court has agreed with. That explanation reads as follows. I contemplate, with sovereign reverence, the act of the whole American people which declare that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. The exact words separation of church and state aren't in the Constitution, but the legal principle is enshrined in the very First Amendment. That's why we don't teach creation in public schools. Creation is religion, not science, and teaching it as fact would be respecting an establishment of religion. Further into your discussion, you speak about secular government leading to eugenics, and you show images of Hitler and the Third Reich as a backdrop. The implication is that Hitler's secular government is an example of this. It's worth pointing out that Hitler himself was a devout Catholic, a Christian. The atrocities he endorsed during that time were more likely the result of a long-standing anti-Semitic view held by the Catholic Church, a prejudice Hitler was more than happy to exploit in his rise to power. It's also worth noting that Hitler and his associate dictator Benito Mussolini advocated a form of government called fascism. Mussolini described fascism as corporatism, since it's the merger of corporate and government power. The significance of this will be more clear as we discuss your use of money as a backdrop in your discussion. The imagery you use in your video is significant. It speaks louder than your words, which is why I choose to address it so thoroughly. Throughout a significant portion of your speech, you show American money with its signature in God We Trust prominently displayed. This is to back up your claim that America is a Christian country. But in God We Trust wasn't always on the money, and the phrase under God wasn't always in the Pledge of Allegiance either. They were added in 1955 and 1956 respectively. So what happened in that time to change America from a secular nation to a Christian one? Well, World War II had ended, and the Cold War with the Soviet Union had begun. The military-industrial complex and the corporatocracy that surrounded it was growing in power. They had found in Christian churches of America a large block of gullible, easily manipulated voters. And in much the same way that Hitler and Mussolini manipulated the fears and bigotry of Catholics in exchange for their support, the modern American corporatocracy manipulates American Christians into approving all manner of gross military spending and supporting every advance of empire in the name of God and country, occasionally throwing them a bone like the inclusion of God on their money or the exclusion of homosexuals from society. So if you're looking for the true legacy of Christianity in the 20th century, there it is, an unwavering support for fascism.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.